So here is the rendering. I mean, these always look beautiful. They look like a fairy tale. This is the bird's eye view. I guess this is what you really call a site plan. And you can tell where all the units are going to be and where you're going to be located in the project. So first things first, before anything, I always say go and satellite view the area. And of course, do your calculations how long it takes you to go to work, to the GO station, to the malls. Like, this is close enough to the highways for me. You got stores and everything, so you make your own judgment on that. But then always come in, zoom in, take a look at the street view. And this is the plot of land. It ends right here, right in front of this tennis court. And the first thing you notice is it's right beside an apartment building, okay? So let's go back. So the first thing that catches my eye is, well, hey, I don't want to be staring straight into an apartment building. I also don't want to be paying a premium for a terrace if I'm going to be looking straight into the front of an apartment building, right? So the tennis courts were back here. The apartment building, now again, look, this looks like forest. It looks like a fairy tale. So I would not want to buy any of these guys over here. All right. Next, I don't ever want to be on a main road. So these units over here, which would be these guys here, I don't want to be on a main road. I'm going to pull up another rendering. And why? Well, for me, it's security. You're not part of the community. You have more chances of somebody, you know, a weirdo walking on the street, and who's he going to attack? The person that's in here where there's cameras and people, or just crime of opportunity because he happens to be walking on the sidewalk. And the other thing is also the cars, the noise, that kind of thing, right? You want privacy. You want to look out your front door, look left, straight, and right, and be like, this is peaceful, or at least this feels calm, not like a main road with cars, right? So these guys for me would be a no-go. Now, probably the worst of any lot is right over here. And I have another rendering for that because the cars are literally pulling underneath your unit. You're going to hear that garage door open and close. You're going to get the lights from the cars. You're going to hear the engines. Here is a rendering of it. I can't believe they're even selling this unit. You're basically looking out to the ramp. It makes no sense to me, right? So I would also just avoid this in general. Avoid that. Next, these guys over here, I also would not buy. Why? Because all the cars are going to be passing by you. And remember, patio towns, so these are the ones on the very bottom. So they are advertising, hey, you're going to walk down and you're going to have a little patio where you can enjoy yourself on, right? And those patios, you can see over here, you walk down. Well, if there's cars coming every few minutes, it's going to get annoying if you're sitting there looking for a bit of peace and quiet, having dinner, reading a book, doing whatever, hanging out with friends. So why buy somewhere where there's a car coming every few minutes when you can buy in other places where there's peace and quiet? So I would be out there. Let's take a look quickly at the site plan. These guys over here, I mean, it's harder to see on the rendering, but these guys are going to get the lights from the exit. So that's a no for me. And remember, that's going to be a ramp down. So the cars are going to be angled in such a way that even though you're on the second or third story, their lights will be angled into your unit. Right? So I would just stay away from this guy as well. These two over here, these are the ones with the terrace. This divider is going to be high, so you won't be able to see the park that's down here. So your vantage point is going to be that building. So I would avoid that. Why pay for an expensive unit when you can pick from other ones that have better views? Right? The courtyard, I'm probably okay with it. I guess the second and third floor, I mean, I would prefer not to buy these. If you can buy better ones, I don't think it's a deal breaker. So where would I buy? Now it looks like I'm, scratching out everything, but now let's change to what I think is reasonable. So I think these over here are probably some of the best buys, right? Remember, you're looking at houses over here, right? So you're gonna have a bit of separation, maybe there's a fence, but in general, especially if you're on that second or third floor, you have a higher vantage point, you're looking over at homes, that's no problem. And you're away from any type of traffic, right? I think I would almost prefer to be, back here are probably the better ones, fully away from the street. You have quick access if they're going to put this little walkway here. So those would probably be my pick. Now, this guy over here is probably the best unit because you have that vantage point onto the park over here. You have extra windows because it's an end unit, so more light. And it's nice and quiet in this corner. Right? I don't think I would mind over here either because remember you have a divider there, but most of what you're looking at will be here. And you have a good view from your unit as well. From over here. All right, so let me circle these. So that's good. I'd be okay with these. I'd be okay with these over here. I'm sure I'm sure these would be fine on the lower levels. That would be no problem. This would also be okay. You are looking into the building, but you also have that bigger vantage point. So I guess this is where I would concentrate my purchases if I had a choice. Remember, if the price is really good, sometimes you don't have a choice, but at least you can talk through it. Some of them I would just never buy, like this over here. I wouldn't buy on the front main road. I don't know if I'd buy these either, especially not the top units. But overall, now you can get a better picture of why these make sense and why they're probably going to sell first. Right? So that's the most important part. And then from there, work backwards and take a look at the floor plans that you can put in these units or that already set. See all the numbers over here? They've already picked what's what, right? But now you can make better decisions. Hope that helped.